Your closet being one of the most used spaces in your home means two things. One, it's going to get messy very, very quickly. And two, it is one of the most important places in your home to keep clean, which means that cleaning out your closet is probably something you're going to have to do multiple times a year. And today I'm here to do it with you. So grab a coffee, some water, and let's romanticize some cleaning together. Hello, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Kat. I am a first-time mom to my son, Louie, who's almost 4 months old. I cannot believe that. Louie is having his little nap time over here. Obviously, at nighttime, he sleeps not with Snuggle Me and with no blanket, but when I'm in here watching him, he was not wanting to nap this time, and I found that if I put him in the Snuggle Me with the blanket, he fell asleep like that. For some reason at night, though, he doesn't mind it. Like, we have not, knock on wood, I'm so grateful, we have not had any issues recently. When he was little, it was a little bit harder, but like he's gotten really good at sleeping pretty well at night in the bassinet. But during nap time, as long as I'm watching him and I'm in the same room, I'm a little more lenient. The closet honestly needs a lot of work. These are all dresses that are going to be put into storage probably because it's getting cold. I have like tank tops, then I have sweaters, then I have another summer shirt that I'm not going to be wearing anytime soon, then like a robe, then a t-shirt. Like this all needs to be reorganized. This I feel like needs to be kind of decluttered and reorganized. These are just all shirts that have just been stuffed, and I feel like a lot of this I can probably donate. And then this is a bag of all my like fall and winter sweaters, so we may take that out. So to make this closet clean out project a little bit less overwhelming, we are breaking it up into multiple stages. And step one is dealing with all of these little bins. I don't know if you'd call them bins or baskets, whatever, that are on these shelves. Also, just to note that you can see on the shelves above and below the ones that I'm pulling these bins from, there's a lot of clothes. Those are all my husband's, but today we are not worrying about his clothes. We're just focusing on mine. By far, one of the most challenging parts of any declutter organization project is getting started. And the thought of having to dive in and clear out the entire closet in one go ahead was just way too much for me. So by breaking it up and doing a little bit each day for about a week, I'd say it took me in total, it made the entire process way more enjoyable. And obviously having my baby girl Callie here next to me just makes it so much better. If you're looking at the screen, you can definitely tell from my face, I was very overwhelmed. This was a lot of clothes, and my goal here was to donate as much as possible. I'm really starting to thin out my closet, especially now that I'm a mom. I'm actually so excited to kind of find my new mom style. I feel like I don't know if that sounds cheesy, but I do find that I'm reaching for different types of clothes than maybe I would have in the past. I mean, still pretty much the same, especially since I worked from home for so long. So, I'm mostly wearing more casual, comfortable clothes on a day-to-day basis, but I am very pumped to start enhancing my style to, the life of motherhood, whatever that's going to look like, and kind of find my new style for myself. But in order to do that, of course, I have to get rid of a lot of clothes that I don't really wear anymore and that don't really fit my style that I want moving forward. So here I was separating everything into piles. The bag on the floor, I'm putting everything that I'm going to be donating, and then the 4 bins on the bed, I'm just kind of separating out the different types of clothes that I still want to keep, but I'll go through and organize each bin afterwards. In case you're new here, I did want to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Kat. I'm 30 years old. I live in Connecticut. I've been in Connecticut my entire life. However, I've moved around a lot within the state during my life. I've been married to my husband, Tim, for a little over a year now. We got married on August 23rd of 2024. However, we've been together since I was 18, which I believe is like 12 years and change at this point. We met and started dating in 2013. It is incredible to look back on the past 12 years and know that not only have we been together for so long, but we've also really grown up together. Like I was 18, he was 19 when we met, and now I'm 30, he's 31, and it has just been the most incredible journey together. And the newest, most amazing thing that we have ever done together is had our son, Louie. He is the absolute light of our lives, and he has made our lives more full of love than honestly I ever could have imagined. I mean, I knew going into being a mother that like he would teach me a kind of love that I've never experienced, but it definitely far exceeded any like expectation, not to sound cliche, that I could have ever had, but it has just been the most amazing journey being a mother. And here on YouTube, I create a ton of cleaning and home and mom life videos. I've been doing cleaning videos on here for years, so it's really exciting to enter this new community of the moms and the parents and families here on YouTube to share hopefully cleaning motivation, lifestyle motivation, routines, my life, and hopefully you'd like to stick around and come back for more videos like this, where whether you want some motivation to clean or just a friend to hang out with while you're getting stuff done around your house, that's kind of like the overall theme of the majority of my content on here. So I know I've talked recently a lot about how my husband and I are in the process of trying to buy a house, and I'm not going to lie, for the longest time, I've kind of been putting off a lot of these big declutter projects that I've been wanting to do, but I'm just like, oh, well, once we get a house, that'll be like my kind of cue to really dive in and start decluttering our entire home. There were a couple of houses that we've put offers in on. There was a couple that we really thought we were going to get, and we're honestly pretty disappointed when we didn't. However, rejection is just redirection, and I know our perfect home is out there. So I finally decided that there is absolutely no reason to wait. And the more that I put off decluttering and organizing our home as it currently is, it's just going to make it more, overwhelming when we finally do buy a house and I have to go to do everything then, and really making the space that we're in right now as organized and clean and enjoyable of a space to be in as possible. So with that said, I am being ruthless with everything that I'm choosing to keep or not keep. As I mentioned earlier, I'm like in the process of finding my mom style anyways. There's a lot of clothes that I'm just don't see myself wearing anymore in this new era of my life. But also, if there's an item of clothing that I'm debating whether I want to keep or not, I ask myself, do I like this enough to pack it up and move it to another house? Because inevitably that's what's going to be happening. And that question alone has really helped me to put a lot of clothing items into the donate bin. Okay, we are on to another day, and today's task is going through all of my fall and winter sweaters that I had stored in one of these vacuum bags. I love these things. Like I said, I'm from New England, so we have 4 very distinct seasons, and I have 2 completely different wardrobes for the spring and summer / the fall and winter. So instead of just keeping everything in my closet year round, I will swap out the clothes for that season, maybe like twice a year, I'd say, maybe 3 times a year, depending on what those items are. But here I'm going through all of the fall and winter sweaters I'd packed away last year, and there were a few that I was able to pop into that donate bin, and I'm really excited because that's what I'm, like I said, trying to donate as much as I possibly can. Now, this is totally random and has nothing to do with this video, but while I was filming, I decided that this fake olive tree that I had next to the TV in our bedroom, I wanted to try moving over to this corner, and I'm actually really happy with it over here. I think it fills that space so much nicer. I am very pumped once we finally buy a house that we're going to get a new bed, probably a king bed instead of the queen that we have, and matching nightstands. Right now, we only have one nightstand because it's the one I had from when I first moved out of my parents' house like 6 or 7 years ago, and we just have not gotten a second one, but I think that this looks really nice with the tree over there. Also, this little blow up chair that I got for Louis, he is obsessed with. I think it's the cutest little thing, and one of the little seating areas that he'll hang out in is if I'm folding laundry, or in this case, putting all of the summer clothes into the bag to kind of be stored away for next year. He's sitting in it in his bassinet watching me, and I just think it's the cutest little chair. So I will have that. I got it from Amazon. I'll have it linked on my storefront if you're interested. Update: Callie is okay with the tree next to her bed. You don't mind. Alrighty, it is now another day again, and here we are ready to tackle the clothes that are hanging in the closet. And like I've said, the goal really is to get rid of as much things as I can, and kind of the mindset that I am going for is I don't want to use all of the available space in my closet. I think this will not only make my closet feel a little less overwhelming and just like look more pleasing to the eye if I'm not literally taking up every spare inch of space that I have, but it's also going to allow for me to add new clothes to it without it getting completely cluttered up, because of course, no matter how hard I try to not buy new clothes, new things are going to come into my closet here and there. So by having the space for it, it just helps to minimize or slow down the inevitableness of it becoming a huge cluttered mess. I've heard people say the rule of like one item in, one item out, and I think that's a great rule. I'll be honest, it's just never something that I've actually followed through with. So I know that that's not really a realistic tip in my life. So by having my closet be a little bit less full when I do this big declutter, it helps me help set me up for success for the future. Since this is a closet clean out video, I really wanted to share some of the top questions that I ask myself when I'm deciding whether to keep, donate, or store an item of clothing. And those questions are as follows. Number one, and this is my favorite, if I did not already own this item and I were to see it in the store, would I even think twice about buying it? Most of the time, if I'm kind of on the fence about an item, the answer to that question is no, and it's a super easy, let me donate it. This jacket, I was debating whether I was going to keep or not, and I ended up deciding that if I saw it in the store, I would buy it, so that is going in the keep pile. But then this one, I like the jacket, but I really don't like the sleeves, and I really don't need two pleather jackets, so this one is going in the donate bin. Alrighty, so we have a handful of piles here. This is all stuff that's going back in the closet. This is all giveaway. This over here is all stuff to go in my summer/pregnancy box or bin. Those are more pregnancy things. These are two things that just go back in the closet, but not on hangers. Lvly is hanging out in his little bassinet. You having fun, bud? But before we start moving clothes back in the closet, there is a lot of organizing. Here, let me adjust the light. It's like annoying moving this big light around, but I feel like it really does make such a difference, so it's worth it for like the video clip. But I want to go through this section. I want to go through that kind of cleaning up. Those are sweaters that we had already like taken out of my fall winter bag, so that I know is going to be there, but we may adjust where they go. Every shelf here, other than the two with my little bins, is all Tim stuff, and honestly, clearly you can kind of see that all has to be decluttered as well. That's actually my sister's. I have to bring that back to her. Also, I love how we have this massive mirror in here. It makes the closet feel so much bigger. All right, let's clean up these little areas so we can bring all the clothes back in. Another question I like to ask myself is, when is the last time I wore this? What kind of event would I be going to that I'd wear it to again? And realistically, if an event like that comes up, could I just wear one of the other items that I have, or would I be excited to go out and get to pick out a new item for that event? And I definitely don't say that to encourage going out and just buying new clothes or shoes for every event that you have. However, this more goes for those pieces where I have a very specific type of event in my mind that I'd wear that singular pair of shoes or dress or top, whatever it is. And realistically, if and when that specific type of event occurs, I end up wearing something more classic or wanting to buy something new for it anyways. And I've just been like hoarding these items for years and years. So by asking myself this question, I was able to move a ton of pairs of shoes into the donation pile. You know, there's always that section in your closet, or any project that you're decluttering, I should say, that just stresses you out the most. Well, for me, that was this corner back here. And I don't know why, because once I actually started pulling everything from it and kind of organizing it, I realized how not big of a deal it was. And it was actually pretty quickly and easy to get it decluttered and organized. I will say that bin that I'm sitting on has a bunch of clothes in it that, to be honest, I could probably find a handful of those to donate as well. But I decided that's going to be a project for another day. As I was sitting there, the thought of opening it up and going through more clothes was just incredibly overwhelming to me. And I think when you start getting to that point in a project where you're like, I'm gonna become too overwhelmed and shut down soon, that's when you need to put a pause on it and take a step back. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And honestly, it can be 10 times more productive sometimes, because then when you come back to it with more of a refreshed mindset, it's gonna be way easier to get through it, and you're probably gonna enjoy it more. I am glad I opened it for a sec though, because I found that pumpkin sweatshirt that obviously it's almost Halloween, so it would have been kind of disappointing if I found it after Halloween and had to wait a whole other year to wear it. But after that, I closed it up, and that is for another day, another video. But I am vacuuming up, which definitely made the space feel a little bit cleaner.
I don't really care about love. I don't really care about happy ever after. Something about you gives me hope. Something about you, yeah. When the sun goes down and the night sky's falling, do you believe in one-time lovers? 'Cause deep inside of my wildest dreams, you'll be by my side when the sun goes down.
So now I'm just taking all of the summer, spring clothes, popping those into one of these vacuum bags, and I'll store that away for next year. Honestly, this is such a random thing to love about living in New England, but one of the things I love about having 4 seasons is that, as I mentioned earlier, I basically have 2 different wardrobes for the different temperatures of the year, and each new season, when I go through the clothes that I had stored away the previous year, it almost feels like I'm getting a whole new bunch of clothes, because I'll forget about some of the fun pieces that I have that I really love, and it's exciting to go through every year. So while yes, there are things that I don't love, like when it's literally 2 degrees outside in the winter, or 100 and super humid in the summer, I honestly could never imagine myself living anywhere other than New England. I mean, yes, of course, my family being here is a huge part of that. And maybe if my family wasn't here, Tim and I have said it would be cool to go live somewhere else, but we're both very, very family oriented, and both of our families are in this area. So being able to see them on a regular basis is incredibly important to us. And then, like I said, I just think that New England weather, I love the seasons. I love that we are close to New York, we're close to Boston, we're close to the ocean, we're close to Vermont, and more of the woodsy area. So I absolutely love living in New England. Alrighty, on to another day, and today I had some laundry to fold, and I figured that since this is a closet video, it made perfect sense to film myself folding the laundry, because then we got to stack it up back in the closet, which now has a lot more room and can easily take it without being completely cluttered. Also, Louie loves sitting in this blow-up chair here. Actually, I can't remember if I talked about this in the video before. Hold on, let me go check. Okay, yes, I just went back and looked at the beginning of this video, and I guess we already did talk about this little blow-up chair. So here's another scenario, another day where he's sitting in it. He also has become a huge fan of Crinkle books, so you can see he's got one in his lap here, and I just think it's the cutest thing watching him play with those. So he was sitting there hanging out for a little while, although you will see in a few minutes, or I mean if you're in the video, a few seconds, that he ended up getting a little fussy and wanted to be closer to me, which I am definitely not complaining. I will take any second that I have sitting with him. So in a moment here, I'm going to be picking him up, and he'll come hang out on the bed with us while we fold. As a first-time mom, it has become very clear to me that doing literally anything ever takes a lot longer than it has in the past. And while yes, in the moment, sometimes if I'm trying to get something done and I have to keep stopping, I'm not gonna lie, it can be a little frustrating. But at the same time, one of my favorite parts about motherhood so far, and one of the best lessons I've learned, is how important it is to slow down and be present in these little moments. The laundry will be there. I can deal with that in a little bit, but in the moment when Louis wants my attention, that's really all that I care about.
Are we gonna take a break from laundry? Laundry's not important when it's you, when you want my attention. I love you. Look at that smile. Do you think you're gonna like coffee one day? Maybe or anything like your mommy, you will. Oh. Oh.
And just like that, the laundry is folded and put away, and I am so happy with how cleaned out and organized these sections of the closet look. Obviously, yes, there are still areas that still need to be tackled, and I think we're going to do those in upcoming videos. Like I said, separating these tasks out makes the entire process more manageable and more enjoyable, which is what we're looking for when we are doing anything in our life, right? But if you watch until this part, comment what is your favorite season based on fashion. Like, what is your favorite season to dress for? I think I have to say fall fashion is my favorite, but I also really do love summer dresses, so I don't know, but let me know what your favorite is. Don't forget to follow or subscribe for more. And if you did want to keep cleaning or organizing with me, I have an entire clean with me playlist, so I will have that linked below. Okay, love you, bye.